we can.
Okay, so good morning, everyone, once again. My KD today is on REST API. I'm building a REST API using YII2 framework, a PHP framework.
Yes, we can.
So basically, Patrick, yeah, these are my details. I'm Patrick Udoh, a backend software developer at Bincom Dev, and you can find me at my LinkedIn address. Okay, first of all, I'd like to explain or give details about what an API is. So an API stands for Application Programming Interface, which is a set of rules and mechanisms by which one application or component interacts with the other. And an API can basically return a JSON or an XML depending on how we configure it. So in the layman's term, an API an interface, like it helps connect an endpoint with let's say with the front end, such that maybe we need a backend person to work with the front end person. It's easier for such people to communicate using APIs. So this is a graphic demonstration of what an API or how it is being used. The backend developer or the company that owns the API has a database where they store the data, and of course connected to web server, and which they return as an endpoint so that you can communicate with the server. So basically, the end user of the API does not have access directly to the database. Okay, so the front end user does not have direct access to the database, but then it can still use the details gotten from the database through the endpoint. So of course, for the front user, the end user to use the API, he has to have an internet, and basically it sends a request to the internet, and the internet connects to the API. And the API, of course, which is the endpoint, the user can actually make use of the endpoint without actually having a database where he stores the information. And the beautiful thing is that some APIs allow you to maybe insert into the database. You can insert to the database, you can create, you can update, and you can also delete from the database. While some does not allow you, some you can only read from the database using their API. So I'll be focusing more on REST API because there are actually two types of APIs. We have the REST API and we have the SOAP API. So today I'll be focusing on the REST API. The REST API basically stands for representational state transfer. Basically, the definition can be conveyed in simpler words. It's a presentation for a client in a format that is convenient for it. There's one of the main points that you need to understand and remember. REST is not a standard or a protocol. It's just an approach to or architectural style for writing API. So basically, REST uses CRUD, that's code style. That is to create, read, update, and delete. And this is a graphical representation of a REST API, similar to an API, because REST, like I said, is just a way, an architecture whereby you use an API. So still the same flow of data from the client get access to the API, and the API connects with database, and database where data are stored. Like I said, the client does not have direct access to database. He only access to the endpoints provided by maybe the backend developer or the company that owns the API. So basically, how it works, RESTful APIs best practices come down to 4 essential operations. Basically, you can receive data in convenient formats. You can create new data, like I said. You can update data, and you can also delete data. So REST API relies heavily on HTTP hypertext transfer protocol. Basically, it uses three different methods. Sorry, four methods: the get method, the post method. The get is for getting resources. The post method is for creating resources. The put is for updating or modifying resources. Then the delete is for removal of resources. Okay, all these methods or operations are generally called CRUD, like I said earlier. They manage data or as create. The C stands for create, the R stands for read, the update stands for, the UR stands for updates, and D stands for deletes. So, in case you hear developer talking about CRUD, they basically just creates, read, updates, and deletes. So the fact that the REST contains a single common interface for request and database is great advantage. So now the HTTP, the hypertext transfer protocol, post, get, put, delete, the SQL. Okay, let me explain it better. The HTTP, these are the requests, the request methods. We have the post method, the get, the put, and the delete. So now for the SQL has done like a command or method also. So for the post method, you use insert. For the get method, you use select. For the put method, you use updates. And for the delete method, you use delete. And also for the CRUD, when you are post, when you're inserting, you are of course creating. Then when you're using a get method, you're selecting from the database, you are reading. And when you put or patch, depending on which one, you are updating an SQL, you are updating your table. Then the CRUD term for it is updates. And also for the list, you are taking it that you're moving from database, you're using using a delete request and updating from database. So these are the steps I'm going to I followed or I'll be following to build the REST API. Actually, a post and a comment REST API using YII2. So the steps, first of all, I'll be creating a migration table. Then next, I'll be creating models and controllers. Then I'll be configuring the response and the URL. Then I'll review my responses using Postman. So basically, I'll be using a migration table. So first thing I do first to be done is to run your migration and run the migration, run the migration, creates user table to create the user table. Because first of all, I'll be having like three different tables: the user table, the post table, and the comment table. So now, the comments, when a user creates a post, so now the post belongs to that user, and probably when another user makes a comment, or if the same user makes a comment, the post or the comment belongs to the particular user making a comment, just like a normal maybe Facebook or any social media post and comment section. So these are endpoints that could work for that, basically. So now I created the migration, and after creating the migration, the user migration, I open it up, and this is what it looks like in my code editor. So I have the primary key, the username. These are the fields I populated. Username, email, password reset, auth key, access token, created at, updated at. Then I think the next thing is to create the post table. The post table holds the data for the post created by the user. So I have the ID of the table, and the title of the post, and the content of the post, like description. Then the timestamp, and also I need to reference the user ID, like code foreign key. He added the foreign key to reference the user ID so that I can know the user that created this post. So I also added the drop down. Then same thing for the comments migration table. I created the comment migration table, fields, ID, content, then created at, updated at. Then the comments migration table has two foreign keys, the user ID foreign key and the post ID foreign key, because a comment is going to be attached to a user, a specific user, and also a comment to be attached to a specific post. There cannot be a comment without a post, because when you're commenting, you're supposed to comment on a specific post. So the post and the user are foreign keys to the comment. So after that, I created the models. Basically, I'm using an MVC structure. The two framework works that MVC structure. So now a model communicates with the database or the table, specific table. So this is a post model communicating with the post table. So now, by my left, these are a set of rules, and these are the data, or rather the columns or the rules, the columns on the table, the post table. Then I applied timestamps behavior to get me the correct timestamp. And of course, after adding the foreign key to the migration tables, I needed to set a relation between the comments, between the comments and the user table. I'm sorry I'm saying so much of technical terms, but then so I need to create a relation between the comment and the post table, and the relationship between the comment and the post table is many to one, because a single post can have many comments. A single post can have many comments. So the relationship between a comment and a post table is many to one. So you can see, okay, it's not showing clearly, but you can see return this as many. That's with written. Then also I have to create a relationship between the post and the user. And unfortunately, the relationship between the post and the user table is a one-to-one. Because just one, you can create one post at a time. Each user has one post at a time. Okay. So now the comments model, like I said, model basically mirror a particular table in the database. Yeah. So same thing too. I use timestamp behavior. I create a relationship between the posts and the comments. So but this time, relationship between a comment and a post table is 1 to 1 yeah, because each comment must belong to a particular post. And also the same thing for user table, 1-to-1 also. Then also after that, like I said, I'm using a model view controller system. So now the next thing is the controller. So I have my post controller, and the beauty of this API is that the beauty of using a REST API using the YII2 is that I don't need to start writing so many code in my controller. All I need to do is extend the active controller, and this active controller, in its beauty, contains the code method, like I explained. It contains the create, the read, update, and delete. So what I do is extend, and extending means when I use the extend keyword on the active controller, it means I can actually use all the methods the active controller has in my post controller. So now, and all you need to do in your controller is just to call in the class where you want to use this, where you want this active controller to work. So now, the model class name is post class. I have post resources there because I extracted some files or some code from the post and reference it to the post resources, which I'm going to show soon. Same thing too for comments controller. All I need to do is to extend the active controller, and I have all the code, the create, read, update, and delete. I don't need to create that manually. So like I said, this is the post controller. So actually I'm using OOP, object-oriented programming principle. So once I extend the class, or all the methods and even the variables there, I can actually make it of it. So a post resource, I'm extending posts, which is the main model. So by virtue of extending the post model, these post resources have everything in the post model, and the extra resources that I need, these extra resources, fields and extra fields, so that in case I need to specify a particular field in my REST API, which I'm going to show later using the postman, I can specify which field I want quickly. Very importantly, you need to specify in your web.php under your configure file the kind of response you need. It's called using the keyword parsers, which I highlighted. So basically, you need to specify parsers applications like JSON, Then using the eWeb JSON parser. Also, a bit, it's not compulsory. I also redefined my URL using also in the web.php under the component section. When I write, I also redefined set of rules for my controllers. You can see under the controllers, you have the post and the comments using the REST URL. So these are the post responses for my API. Quickly, let me.
Patrick, please, you just have like a minute left.
Okay, yeah, I'm already at the end, so I'm trying to like use instead of showing it from. I mean, it's not very clear. Yeah, so this is my postman. So I'm trying to make my screen I'm not showing. Okay, so this is the request using postman. We use postman to test our request, basically. So like I said, the first one is the post request. So post is to update. So you enter the title, the content, and of course the user ID. So this is what it's going to return, and this is what maybe the front-end person or the user gets, instead of getting direct communication with the database. Then the second one is a post request. That is, I'm creating a new post, and this is what it looks like when you create a new post and you press enter or send. Is what you get. Then, of course, update again, update the post response, the same thing. And the way I did it, you can also check the response under the post comment. You have to delete the post response, of course, if you have to what they call specify the ID of the post you want to delete. So this ID is for 4. You click on send and it deletes. Then feature responses, like I said, you can also filter your responses in case you don't want everything to come out. You can specify the fields using fields equals to. If you want your ID, the title, and your content only, you can specify. You can choose to filter responses too. Thank you very much. Any questions?